What is up, React Rally? I am so stoked to be here. So for the past 2 years, so I was one of the OGs. For the past 2 years, I've been so stoked on this conference. Everybody I've been telling, they ask me oh, what React conference should I go to? Go to React Rally. I think Matt and Jameson do an awesome job, and I really want to thank them for having me out. They just do everything so well. The wristbands, the t-shirts, the logo, are you kidding me? It was amazing. So my name is Michael Jackson. I'm from California, and today I want to talk to you about React, but kind of in an indirect way. I really want to tell you about this CDN that I built. It's called Unpackaged. And it is essentially the CDN for everything on NPM. So why am I even talking about this? So I built React Router a couple of years ago with my business partner, Ryan Florence. And when we did, we noticed that a lot of people would come onto our GitHub and they would say, hey, can I get the UMD bundle somewhere that's hosted on a CDN? Because maybe I'm not using modules or a build system. I just want to put a script tag on my page. I just want to have a bunch of globals, and I want to just load React Router as a global. Oh, sorry, that's me. I'm Jackson, and that's my company, React Training. Sorry, I dove right into it. And so we built this thing called Unpackaged. Unpackaged is it's a CDN, as I said, for everything that's on NPM. It's basically a reverse proxy for everything on NPM. So it takes packages off of NPM, unzips the tarball, and serves out the contents. And we originally built it because we were just putting our UMD build up on NPM in our NPM package. We said, hey, you want to get our UMD build? Go and get it from our NPM package. And you might think, well, why did you build that? Why didn't you just publish it to, something like a CDN.js? So I launched this website originally as npmcdn.com back in 2015. The reason that we didn't use CDN.js is because I wanted this zero config solution, right? Zero config is totally cool. When you're already doing something and something else just works automatically, you get it for free. I think zero config is an incredibly powerful motive for using something. I think the Create React app people have done an excellent job, building a zero config tool for getting started with a React tool as well. And so that's what we wanted. We don't want people to have to push their packages to a GitHub repo just to get them on a CDN. You're already publishing stuff to NPM. Why don't we just serve up the stuff that you've already got on NPM? And so we kind of developed this tagline. It's the CDN for everything on NPM. And it has been developed 100% in the open. So you go to github.com/unpackage. You can see all of my dirty little secrets and all of my messy commits and all of my code and everything. It's all there. So I just want to tell you a little bit about, so I told you I launched it back in late 2015. So it's been about a year and a half, almost 2 years now, that I've been running this website. And it has grown like crazy. Do you ever have something that just grows like nuts? In the last 30 days, we served 2.9 billion requests. Last time I worked on a website that big, I was working at twitter.com. We served 284 million unique visitors this month, and 36 terabytes of traffic. I barely even understand the concept of a terabyte. I get megs, I get gigs, terabytes. The only reason that any of this is possible is because Cloudflare gave me this sweet enterprise account to play around with. Cloudflare has been such an amazing sponsor for this project. I want to give them a huge shout out. I was originally going to use as my emoji here one of those chart trending things, I'm going up. But I decided for the cowboy instead. Because Cloudflare it's so fun to play with. And it's been so awesome to play with this site and deal with these problems at this kind of scale. So you can follow us, for updates basically on Unpackaged on Twitter. But I'm actually not one for keynote slides, if you can tell. So I'm actually going to pop out of the presentation now, and enough talking about this. Let's go and see what this actually is. Okay, so here's the site. I'm actually not terribly good at design either. Come on and give me a hand, will you? So here's the site. It's pretty simple. The whole thing, as I said, is you can view the source for all of this stuff on GitHub. And the way it works, basically, is you just plug in a URL with your package name of that. I feel like okay, and then the version of your package, and then the file that you want. So, for example, you could go up to the URL here. You could just say .com/react. Now, if I just request /react, oh man, the network. Everybody pray to the network gods. Do your dance, your rain dance. This was just working. It's okay. This is conference Wi-Fi. So I actually have a pretty good joke. My son told me this one the other day. He said, why did the skeleton not go to the ball? Because he had no body to dance with. Thank you. Okay, and it looks like we stalled just long enough for the network to come back. Hopefully. Okay, so if I go to unpackaged.com/react, come on. All right. So it's going to basically take and serve up the file that is like the main file for that package. Anybody who's published an NPM package, you get this thing called the package JSON. There's a main entry in there, and Unpackaged is going to serve that file. Notice that it automatically went and redirected us to the current React version, which is the current stable 15.6.1. So this is kind of cool, but what else can you do with it? Well, you can put a trailing slash on the URL, and then you can get a directory listing of all the stuff in the package contents. This is actually kind of eye-opening. If you've ever published to NPM before, sometimes you might have thought, what's in the package? and sometimes, like, I used to go and re-download my package just so I could unzip it and see what did I publish? And now this is kind of a cool way to do that. And then you can just kind of browse around and take a look at whatever's in the package. Right, so as I said, we were using this to publish React Router's UMD builds. So basically, we would just plug in React Router, and then we would say, hey, we've got a UMD build. If you want our UMD bundle, there's your URL. And again, it's on a CDN, so it's going to load nice and fast no matter where you are in the world, right? So that's pretty cool. After I built this, it was kind of crazy. So I put this disclaimer on the website. I was like, please, this is just an experiment. Some of our people wanted this, so I built it and I shipped it. Obviously, as you can tell, people don't pay attention to what you write on your websites. People don't pay attention to what you write on the internet. They don't care. They're like, oh, cool, a thing, right? So I'm going to use it, right? And so people have it was originally built to serve these UMD bundles, but people have done all sorts of crazy stuff. I've got this repo that I actually want to show you real quick. So this is the Unpackaged demos repo. Again, this is open source. Everything I do with Unpackaged is totally out in the open, so you can see at any time what's going on. So I'm going to open up this repo. Oh, I've already got it open, and I've got my notes. So I'm actually going to go through and I'm going to open up, I'm going to build a website with React. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. All right. So React, when it was first released, got kind of a bad rap, right? For the JSX and the fatigue, right? You can just use script tags to make a React app. Who needs create React app? Just kidding. It actually does way more than this. So check it out. So I've got a script tag that I'm using to load the React production bundle. I've got a script tag that I'm using to load React DOM, which, by the way, they publish both of these in their NPM package. They've got UMD builds for both of these. And I've even got Babel. Babel even has a UMD build, right? This is literally like the world's smallest create React app, like the most minimal React app that you can get. A couple of script tags, and then you use script type equals text Babel, and you're off to the races, my friend. I mean, fatigue, like people gave React a really hard time for like being hard to set up. It's not that difficult to get it set up. You just drop a couple of script tags in, and you're off to the races. You've got all of your ES6 classes. You've got JSX. Let's run this. Let's see. So if I open up, I'm going to just serve this directory. Go to localhost 5000, and I'm going to go into the global React build, and there we are. If we pop open the network panel, we'll see pretty much what we expect. A couple of requests to unpackage. Sorry, I'm going to bump that too. We're gonna be looking at this network panel a lot today. So I fetched the page, and then both of the bundles in the Babel bundle, and that's it, right? 395 milliseconds load time. It's on, like I said, Cloudflare is crazy fast. It's so good. So we're just using globals, right? Like, that's not really cool, man. I've got my, Webpack. I've got my, JavaScript modules. Okay, all right. So you think, maybe this isn't applicable to you. So I've actually got another demo in here that is the Webpack React demo. It's the next one I'm going to do. So let's see. You've got a. So the thing about Webpack is we're not using script tags anymore. So Webpack is using script tags. You betcha, right? Webpack is putting some script tags in your page, but you don't actually write them anymore. Webpack took that away from you and said, hey, tell you what, you just give me this config thing, and I'll generate the script tags, and I'll put them in the HTML. In fact, if you've ever opened the index.html of a new Create React app, you'll see there's just like a big swath of comments that's like, someday the script tags will be here, right? But you're not exactly sure how that gets there. All you know is you write this config thing, and you say, okay, here's my entry point. Here's where I want to build the bundle to. Configure your loaders, and then the HTML Webpack plugin is a really, really common way to generate your HTML page. So let's take a look at this entry point, this main.js. So in main, I'm actually, I'm using imports. I'm using JavaScript modules, right? No more globals. I've got my imports now. But you can actually still use a CDN for your React stuff. So I'm actually configuring the CDN here with the dynamic CDN Webpack plugin. And this is a plugin that, let's see. So I'm going to be I'm going to go into Webpack React. I'm going to run my Webpack build. And so what are the script tags that Webpack generated, right? What are they? Who knows? Let's go and take a look at the build HTML. There they are. How many people have done this, right? It's like you generate your Webpack, and then you go and look at the index.html to see what actually came out. So you can see here that this dynamic CDN Webpack plugin is actually detecting the fact that you're importing React. So it's looking at these imports right here and saying, aha, I see that you're importing React. I see that you're importing React DOM. Let's not create our own bundle for those. Instead, let's fetch those from the CDN. So you've got a couple of script tags here. This one here is fetching React from Unpackaged. This one here is fetching React DOM. And then we'll put the rest of your application-specific code in your bundle, right? So what's cool about this is you've actually got your Webpack build, you've got your JavaScript modules, and you're also not forcing every single person who comes to your site to download React. The real power of a CDN is in caching and in distribution, right? So if, I've hopefully demonstrated that Unpackaged has kind of got it's kind of at this weird place right now. It's at an inflection point. It's getting a lot of good adoption. So there's actually a pretty decent chance that your site visitors are going to have the React from Unpackaged already right there in, cached in their browser. They're using it on the React GitHub page, on GitHub pages. They're loading it from Unpackaged. So if you've been there, you've got the copy of Unpackaged already right there in your browser. People aren't going to have to download it every single time they visit your app. Okay, so those are those are some kind of pretty cool demos, right? But in the end, we're still just like we're in this weird place right now where we're still using like a bundler. We're still actually using globals because we're loading those UMD bundles, but it doesn't look like globals because we've got these imports, which is kind of cool. Can we do something else? Can we actually load, instead of loading just UMD bundles, like pre-built bundles, can we actually load modules over the web? This changes kind of the thinking, right? Like, people don't usually do this. We usually load our modules only once on the server. We go and trace the dependency graph, require all the modules, put them in a bundle, and deploy. But could we achieve fine-grained caching at the module level on a global CDN? It's essentially the question I'm asking. And could we load things at the module level? So there's a tool called System.js. System.js is actually pretty interesting. They have been doing client-side module loading for a long time. If you're anything like me, you've heard the word System.js and you tried to understand it, and then you were like, I don't understand it, after playing around with it for a little bit, and you kind of gave up on it. So I went and I dug deep and I tried to figure out, okay, so these people have built a client-side module loader, so how could we actually load React with modules? So I'm going to be in the System.js React demo. Let's take a look at I always start off with the index.html. So this time the only thing we're loading, the only UMD bundle basically that we're loading from Unpackaged is the System.js bundle. And then we're going to load our config, and we're going to say system import my main, right? My main.js, that's where my app lives. So what's in this config? So I'm not going to take too much time, but this is it's another config. It's like Webpack has a config, System.js has a config. You go in here and you basically say, look, System.js, whenever you find anything that's React, go get the React 15.5.4 bundle from Unpackaged, from NPM, and NPM is mapped to Unpackaged, right? So essentially, System.js is going to go and it's going to read what is in my main.js, right? Again, my main.js is modules. System.js is going to read that and say, oh, I see you need React, I see you need React DOM. Let me go and I'm going to fetch the modules that you need. And by the way, it's going to use common.js. So let's take a look at these files on the CDN. So let's see, if I go to React, so I'm loading react.js. I'm loading the main file, react.js. Oh, that's localhost. Remember, kids, always make sure you're talking to the right server. Okay, so this is common.js, right? Nice thing about System.js, System.js understands common.js. Cool. So let's load up this other demo. So we're not using that anymore. Let's go to System.js React. Check out the network tab on this one. So we made 186 requests. It all started with this one right here, with our app. And System.js basically just used that as the entry point and went back from there and said, okay, I'm going to trace all this whole require graph, this import graph. I'm going to trace all your dependencies, and I'm going to dynamically load these things off of the CDN. So lots and lots of requests, but I do think it's kind of cool that we're actually loading things now at the module level, as I said. Can we take this a step further? So browsers are actually, so modules are actually coming to browsers. There's this thing called script type module, basically. So you can, you usually just put your script tag in. Well, now if you put type equals module on it, in a lot of browsers, you can actually use JavaScript modules in the browser. Okay, in Chrome 61, you can do this. In Safari Tech Preview, I think it might have actually shipped. in their actual release. You can do this in Firefox behind a flag right now. Actually, they might have shipped. Stuff is moving so quickly. I know you can use it in Chrome 61. That's what I've been using. So how does an app that's even built like this? How does this even look? What are we even talking about? So they actually they gave us this nice little demo. Paul Irish, bless his heart, converted to do MVC to modules, right? So now we can make our to-do list, speak, shut up, sit down. Okay. And we can actually pop open the network tab here, and we can see how is all this stuff loading. So his entry point is going to be here, bootstrap.js. And he's using JavaScript modules. Actually, let me show you even before that. Let's look at the source of this page. You miss the days when you could view source and understand what was going on? We're bringing it back, baby. We're bringing it back. Okay, so check it out. So bootstrap.js type equals module. Okay, so you can't run this in a browser that doesn't understand modules. There's a whole lot to talk about there, but I can talk to you about that offline. So he's loading bootstrap.js. So bootstrap.js is this code, right? And in here we're using JavaScript modules. And then he's just going back and this time it's not system.js, right? It's the browser is actually going and tracing that require graph and loading in all of these dependencies, okay? These are all local dependencies, okay? // right? He's just loading things from the local network, which is actually, it's pretty well supported in browsers. Is loading, when I use a specifier that points to a file that's on my local disk, that's well supported. What's not so well supported are the bare specifiers. So what do I mean by a bare specifier? So if we read the spec, some people I know I just lost some people, but try and stay with me here. Oh gosh, where did it go? Good old URLs to save the day, or maybe not. Is that it? Yes. Stop refreshing the page. Okay. Whew. So it says, so there's this whole spec about resolving the module specifiers, right? And so it says, okay, so if we've got a full URL, great. If we've got a slash or a // great. But if we have a bare URL, like somebody says import jQuery or import web/crypto, right? Like import React, we don't know what to do with that. We're gonna kind of punt on that. So I wanted to explore, because Unpackaged is basically just a file system for NPM, right? So what if Unpackaged could just serve up everything that you need in your app, and Unpackaged could serve as kind of like this mounted global file system for everything that you need. So I want to show you a demo with, let's see, this will be my last demo, and then we'll take some questions. And I'm sorry I went over, but we started a little late. So let's see. So if I go to module D3, or sorry, I don't want to go there first. First I want to show you. So I'm going to actually load D3 using modules. So if I go to D3, so we can see that D3 is, by default ships a common JS as the main. It ships a common JS file. But they also ship JavaScript modules, okay? If you want to take a quick peek at the package JSON here. So this is what you need to ship JavaScript modules. Stick a module entry in your package JSON that points to a JavaScript module. So in this case, index, it's saying, is a JavaScript module. So you go there, and we see like a bunch of exports, really. But really what they're doing is they're using JavaScript modules. Notice what's not so great is they're using these bare specifiers, right? Which the spec told us is not supported yet. The spec doesn't have any idea about where to fetch that from. Are you fetching from, where are you going with that? So I shipped this feature actually just last night. I've been working on it for a long time. But if you stick query string module on a file that contains JavaScript modules, Unpackaged is going to convert those on the fly to unpackaged URLs. So now those bare imports, thank you. That's just a little Babel transform on the code. Props to the Babel team, by the way. They've done an amazing job like documenting that project and everything. So all of these bare imports are now actual URLs, and those themselves are going to load modules from Unpackaged. So it is going to be modules all the way down. Who doesn't believe me that this is going to work? You're like, is that a trick question? Thank you, Ryan. So let's see. So if let me open the example first. I'll show you the. Okay. So check it out. No global script tags. None. They're gone. I have a script type equals module here, and I'm importing star as D3 from unpackaged.com/D3 module, query module, right? And that's it. Then I've got D3 in the page. So let's check this out. Whoa. You thought we were making a lot of network requests last time. We just made 547. Never has anybody gotten applause for making so many network requests over the Wi-Fi. Never. So there are obviously some things to work out here, right? Some optimizations. There are too many requests, far too many requests. But we did it. I think there's something that's interesting about having the ability to do something, right? Nailing the API, and then you can optimize it later. You can optimize the heck out of it later, right? I think we learned that from React, didn't we? React gave us this API, div on click, right? And for a lot of us, I remember actually I was working at Twitter at the time, and my boss who was at Twitter, who was a man that I respected very much, had a lot of experience in the web world, he looked at div on click and he was like, that's dumb. I thought we were over this. I thought we were past this, right? Well, if you've been using React for a while, you understand, no, it's not a click handler it doesn't have the problems that div on click had, which is why we abandoned it in the first place and started doing everything in JavaScript, right? It doesn't have to use globals. It doesn't install a click handler on every single thing. It uses event delegation. But div on click is the API. That's the right API. That's the best API that we have for adding behavior to an element. And then they can optimize it later. So that is kind of where I'm going with this. Unpackaged right now. I think loading things from a URL, I think, is a great idea. I think script type module is a great idea. I think loading our shared dependencies from a cache is a great idea. And it's all possible today thanks to Unpackaged and thanks to people who are innovating with things like script type module, System.js. There's been a lot of work that's gone into this. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who's put work into these specs and this people on the What Working group. They've done an incredible job. And so that's basically it. So are there any questions? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Cloudflare is HTTP2 enabled. So yeah, that's definitely an optimization thing. That's definitely something I'm looking into. Yeah. Yeah. So I was just trying to serve up our UMD bundle on a CDN. I was going to use CDN.js, but I tried to clone the repo, and it literally took me about half an hour to clone the repo. Like, everything on CDN.js is on GitHub. It's a massive repo. And it's very unwieldy. It's hard to deal with. So I thought, why not just make a reverse proxy? We're already published into NPM. Last question? Sorry, I can't see. Oh, yeah. 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 Yeah, what do we got in mind? So HTTP2 server push is going to be one way to optimize this, right? So you can take a look at the, if we're loading JavaScript, if we're talking about JavaScript modules, you can take a look at all the import statements at the top and say, oh, I can see you're probably going to need this and this and this and this, right? So I can push those ahead of time to you. Another optimization that I'm thinking about is possibly providing some kind of a service worker. And props to Michael Chan, actually, my buddy, for putting this seed in my head. But he was like, well, what if you put a service worker in there? And the whole point of service workers is to do the fetch for you, right? And so the service worker can take a look at the stuff you already have cached and like not even do the fetch if you've already got it cached. The nice thing about these URLs is these URLs, they literally never expire. Unpackaged.com/react/react.js. You know, if I'm gonna load a file from the React 15.6.1 package, that thing's never gonna expire. So it's being cached. Oh, that's the redirect. Gosh dang it. Well, anyway, I'm caching these things forever. I'm caching them for like a year. So those are some of the optimizations. One of the things that I did want to mention, and again, I'm way over time, sorry, is that D3 is like the only library that is modules all the way down that I could find. I'm going to be putting some instructions up on Unpackaged pretty soon for people who want to publish modules. I would encourage you to publish modules. Again, all it takes is put in the module field in your package JSON and pointing to an ES module that's in your bundle or that's in your NPM package. And that's all it really takes. But I'll have instructions up on Unpackaged for how to do that soon for people who are interested. Just imagine what a cool world it would be if everybody only loaded React once. I'm Michael Jackson. Thank you very much.